And outside flew his house with the blue little window and a blue Corvette, and everything is blue for him and himself and everybody around, cause he ain't got nobody to listen to.
That might be enough for that, hey? Might be showing my age with that one. Hi guys, my name is Emma and welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing another rainbow recommendation, and this time I'm talking all things blue, dabble dee dabble die. I'm sorry, I've had too much coffee today. So I have a great big stack of books for you that are all blue, and they're just a bunch of books that I think are cool. And they're blue. We're gonna go for this. Again, I have 7. But I have 2 honourable mentions which I've talked about on this channel before, so I didn't feel like I needed to include them in this kind of a video, but they are both blue and awesome. So just very quickly, super quickly, Prisoners of Geography, an amazing book about geopolitics. You should totally read it. The Golem and the Jinni, the most amazing magical realism book I've ever read. It's wonderful. Go and read it. Okay, now I've got those 2 out of the way, let's go into the actual recommendations for a bunch of blue books here that I think are amazing. The first one is Cody McFadyen's Shadow Man. This is either book 1 or 2 of the Smokey Barrett series by Cody McFadyen. It's a thriller. It's following the detective Smokey Barrett, and it is absolutely amazing. I really enjoy Cody McFadyen. I think either he or she, can't remember which, really pushes the boat out when it comes to like gruesome thrillers that are still grounded enough in the rationale and the reasoning for that. I think it's absolutely amazing. This opens with a young girl who has been tied to the mutilated corpse of her mother for 3 days before they find her, and it turns out that it's Smokey Barrett's best friend. Holy shit. So I really love this. I love all the side characters. I think they are absolutely amazing. It's a wonderful team that comes together, and if you are a big fan of thrillers in general, I think that Cody McFadyen should definitely be on your radar. If this is book 2, you don't need to have read book 1 to be able to enjoy this, but as with any of these kind of crime detective drama type things, it's potentially worth going back to the beginning if you are a stickler for it, but they do function as standalones. The next one I want to talk about is Herman Koch's The Dinner. So this is a really strange book that people either love or hate. I'm in the love camp, and I know that Books and Lala absolutely loves this one as well, but I know that she also agrees with that whole like it's a bit of a weird one and a lot of people aren't going to enjoy it. Fundamentally, it's about 2 couples who are kind of good friends. Their sons are good friends. I think, in fact, they're brothers. The male counterparts are brothers. And basically, their teenage boys have been caught on CCTV doing something horrendous. And this meal is a chance for the 2 couples to talk about how they're going to handle it. But it is all couched in those very, like, prim, proper, we're going to do this with decorum kind of overtones. So everything is done very much through like subtext and talking, and there's a lot of kind of power play happening throughout this meal. The main thing about this book is it really is a character study, and I found, normally I don't like character study books, but I found this one absolutely riveting and fascinating, and the characters are just so disgustingly bad humans that it was just absolutely wonderful and interesting to read. So if you are the kind of person who really enjoys character studies, or like the interactions and the lengths that people will go to protect their family, I think that you'd really enjoy this one. Going off on a completely different tangent, we have China Mieville's Lun Dun, which I know this cover is black, but look, the spine is blue. It counts. It counts, okay? The writing's blue. Shut up. The writing's not, the writing's yellow and white. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Basically, this is a sci-fi fantasy-esque type thing. It's about Lun Dun, which is like an alternate reality London where everything is quirky and wonderful and crazy. So 2 girls end up stumbling into it, and there's this whole kind of wacky crazy plot that goes on with them. But this book really reminds me of a lot of the kind of world building that you get from people like Terry Pratchett or Tom Holt, where it is that really zany, wacky, thinking outside the box. Everything is kind of quirky and a spin on how we consider things in our life today, and it's really that is going to be the big draw for this, rather than necessarily the plot itself. Nothing is immediately jumping to mind, but I remember that there are like carnivorous giraffes. There's the bad guy is literally just like a dark cloud called Smog who is coming. Mr. Umbrella was definitely a character in it as well. Like, it was completely wacky and insane. So if you are a fan of Terry Pratchett or any of that real like absurdist fantasy, this one definitely should be on your radar. My next one that I want to recommend is Matt Haig's How to Stop Time. This is a gorgeous little book about our main character Tom, who doesn't age. Like, nice and simple, he just does not get any older, or rather he ages ridiculously slowly. So he is part of a secret society of a collection of people who are also like this, and basically you can't live anywhere for too long because people will notice. So it's about his life being constantly uprooted and moved. The thing that I think is the strongest about this book is looking at Tom's past and the kind of various things that he has seen throughout the ages, as he's been around for like 400 years or something crazy like that. I think the modern day elements of it were particularly weak, and the ending, like with a book like this, you're almost not here for the plot, you're here for kind of the meander through time and the kind of commentary you can make with that, rather than anything too big or grandiose. It reminded me a lot of the movie The Age of Adeline, which is absolutely wonderful as well with Blake Lively, and I think that Matt Haig is a brilliant writer. He has that really lovely way of kind of commenting on the mundane elements of life, but pointing out that that's what makes life so beautiful. We're kicking it back old school and talking about Alice Hoffman's Practical Magic. This book has been around for a really long time and has got a movie made of it with a very young Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman. Definitely go and watch the movie. I think it's amazing. The movie and the book are completely different, both in terms of like style but also story. So if you do enjoy the movie, do not walk into the book expecting it to be the same. The book is far more of a kind of meander and a relaxed stroll through these characters' lives, but basically it's about two sisters who are witches and are born into a witch family, but they live in like a small rural area of America, and they're not really supposed to give away that they're witches, and it's just about kind of their life and their interactions in the town and what that witchiness means. The strongest thing about this for Alice Hoffman is definitely the writing style. It is just one of these like gorgeous lyrical kind of writing prose that you can really sink into, and it just reminds me of like late summer evenings and like sitting out in the garden and that real lushness to it, and I think that it's absolutely beautiful. Definitely one to check out if you do like really emotive and atmospheric writing, or if you are into kind of really casual magical realism that barely drops magic into the world and then just sort of lets it sit there and kind of play, or if you do like the movie, because you know, it's good as well. It's good as well. Okay, I've got two non-fictions to finish up with here. The first one is Confessions of a Sociopath by M.E. Thomas. As the name suggests, this is Confessions of a Sociopath. M.E. Thomas is a high-functioning non-criminal sociopath, and it's just talking about the label of a sociopath and breaking down what that means in comparison to a lot of the stereotypes in the media and in society about that. It's an interesting read. You're not necessarily supposed to like M.E. Thomas particularly, and some people have reacted quite negatively towards this book, but I found it absolutely fascinating, and it was definitely I think if you are interested in mental health and you know, reading about something from really like own voices, somebody else's head, then definitely check this one out because it's really interesting. And then the final one that I have to talk about is Timekeepers by Simon Garfield. This is not the strongest non-fiction book I've ever read. It vaguely tries to connect things with the concept of time, but actually it's more like a series of disjointed essays that are about various iterations of time in our society. So it's not talking about time as a concept, it's talking about our understanding of time and things like our understanding of clocks and watches and ways of tracking time. Or there's an essay here about the man who ran the fastest mile or 100 meters, or like the, you know, people who have run really fast and breaking records. It talks about timekeeping within music. It talks about all sorts of different concepts of how time interplays with other things in our society. So if you are looking for more of that kind of maybe physicsy concepts of time, this is not it. It was interesting. Like with any kind of essay collection idea, some of them resonated more strongly than others, and I do think that the blurb pushes it more towards a physicsy time idea rather than what it actually is. So just do be warned, it isn't quite what it says it is on the back. So from that perspective, I was slightly disappointed with reading it. Not because it's not an interesting or good book, but I thought it was going to be something very different. Good fun. Worth checking out if you are into kind of quirky non-fiction. So there you have it, another rainbow recommendation. This is just a collection of blue books that I think are interesting and worth a second look on my shelf, but I'm never gonna have a chance to talk about them unless I do something like this. I've already done the colour red, which I will link down below, so please do check that out. I don't know what will be next. It'll be whatever I have an abundance of on my shelves. I don't have much purple or yellow. Am I gonna have to read more books of a specific colour to be able to fulfill these? Huh. Maybe didn't think this all the way through. Anyway, that's it from me. If you liked this content, please do feel free to subscribe. I put out videos twice a week, or you could just check out my back catalogue because I've got quite a few now. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful reading week, and I'll chat to you soon. Bye guys!